Today on the Ave Podcast, the NBA playoffs are here. Thank God. We're finally here. You know, the regular season has been dragging on for a little bit, at least for me. So I can't wait for it to officially get here. Damn the play-in games. Let's get the show on the road, man. So we're blowing out this episode today where I'm joined by a friend of the podcast, one of the all-time Canadian college basketball scorers in history, as well as Durham College's Hall of Famer, Anthony Batchelor, as we wrap up the season breaking down our NBA award winners, plus our selections for the All-NBA teams, and then we break down the matchups that were set before the play-in games. All right, so this was recorded Tuesday night. So this is before the Lakers and Pelicans matchup where Zion was bringing it home before he pulled his hamstring and put the rest of his season and the Pelicans season in jeopardy. Before Jimmy Butler sprained his MCL and effectively shut down his season. And before Jonte Porter decided to bet on himself and get his ass banned for life from the NBA. And we have some things to say on it to wrap up. And, you know, as you've noticed, you know, it's been a while since I've put out my last podcast. And, you know, I just had some personal things regarding my family, some real pending family matters that I had to prioritize. So, you know, that term family first, it's a real thing, you know, but I'm grateful to be on the other side of it. At least enough to get back recording again. All right. So I miss getting my shows done and recording my shows, doing my shows. So I'm back at it. I know all the P. Diddy stuff, the hip hop beefs, all that's been going on. I've been paying attention to all of it. Trust me. And we're going to address it all much sooner than later. I promise. All right. But as always, wherever you listen to podcasts, South Sharav is always there. Wherever you listen to me and the family, whatever you do, click on the 5 stars. I've been on hiatus for a little bit, so the love is appreciated, damn it. Hit that like and subscribe button, and check out SouthSharav.com for the catalog, please, and thank you. Once again, that's over at SouthSharav.com. Check it out. It's the Ave Podcast with Cal C on South Sharav Radio. Let's rock.
Welcome to the Ave Podcast with Cal C on South Sharav Radio.
Welcome back to the Ave Podcast, where I'm joined by the Durham College Hall of Famer and one of the all-time Canadian hoopers and scorers in Canadian college basketball history, Mr. Anthony Batchelor, friend of the podcast. How you doing today, sir? Hello?
I'm doing well. Yourself? Can you hear me?
Oh, I'm doing good. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
I'm doing good. Are you happy that the regular season's over? I'm so done with it. I don't even really care too much about the play-in.
I don't know if I can say that. I mean, there's playing right now with the Lakers.
Yeah,
I want to see the news right now, but you know, I'm definitely ready for playoffs. So.
Yeah, I can't wait for it, man. I'm pretty much done. You know, like that whole tagline that we're done with the '90s. I'm done with the regular season. That's me. That's me right now. I am done with the regular season. You know what? Before we get into like the playoff matchups, in the spirit of that, let's knock off these awards, man, because this has been an interesting year, especially with all the injuries and the new baseline of games that you have to play that made my all NBA teams and all that shit harder to do, because you couldn't nominate some of these guys that you would have liked or would have selected. We can start off with either the All-NBA teams, or actually let's do it with the All-NBA teams. Just get that out of the way first before we get to the awards, and then we can break down the other series while we're watching this playing Lakers Pelicans game. There's a lot of shit going on here. You know, because you're the guest, I'll start with you first. But in terms of the third team, who's your third team? Your third team for the All-NBA squad.
Pretty sure I'm gonna piss off a lot of people with this list, but
and before you start, I'll say this: I had a hard time with the third team for sure, and even a little bit of the second team because of the reasons I just mentioned before. But go ahead.
Absolutely. I feel that when I get to the first team, there's going to be a name for sure that a lot of people might not even agree with, but I have my backup. I have my stance on it. Mm-hmm. So
and remember, this is your All NBA, you know, within the rules, not like what you expect who's going to be picked and whatever, right? Just like the awards.
Absolutely. So for my third team, I got Tyrese Halliburton, Devin Booker, Kawhi Leonard, Giannis, and Sabonis. Donald Sabonis. That's my third team.
You have Halliburton. He didn't play enough games.
He did. I think he got a 60, 68 or 66, one of the two.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. For my second team.
No, hold on. Let's do it knock it off one at a time.
Okay.
So repeat your list one more time. Let me just hear it one more time.
I got Tyrese Halliburton.
Okay.
Devin Booker. Kawhi Leonard. Giannis. I'm not even attempt to say his last name, but we all know who we're talking about. And then we got Sabonis.
Got Sabonis. Okay. I'm surprised you have him a third. I'm talking about Giannis.
You know what? There's some other players I feel that have done way more than he has, and in a more efficient. Well, Giannis is still efficient, but I feel like he's kind of regressed, given that they got D. Lillard on the squad.
It's interesting though because I kind of feel like he probably efficiency wise, he probably had one of his best seasons when you break it down.
You think so?
I think so. Let's look at the stats while we're talking. But just from what I'm seeing here, he averaged basically 30, 11, and 5. He shot 60% field goals from the field basically overall, which is I think that's his highest field goal percentage ever. And he averaged not even 5.5. Sorry, he averaged 6.5 assists a game, which I think was also a career high.
What do we have in block? What do we have in blocks?
For Giannis, 1.2 steals per game, 1.1 blocks.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. Maybe.
No, you married to it. Stay with it.
Oh no. I'm definitely not changing it. I'm 100% confident, and I stand with my number one, and I stand with my number two, and I stand with my number three. It's just that the way I don't know. We have an expectation with Giannis, right? And I just feel that what he's done in past seasons compared to this season, he just wasn't that guy. And I think at the same time, even with his mental, in terms of at the end of the game, well, we all know where the ball's going. I don't know. I just feel like that All NBA number one team is not what I'm hearing.
Well, you know what? You're right. And realizing that that Halliburton, for some reason, I thought he played less than 65 games. So I'm gonna adjust my third team because I didn't realize. I thought he didn't meet the threshold. So I'm going to also put him on my third team. I'm going to substitute a person that's probably going to – I'll get to I'm going to substitute in a second. But for my third team, I have LeBron, followed by Halliburton. Mm-hmm. I got Maxey. I got Sabonis. And I got – you know what? And I got Curry. I'm gonna take out Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
I'm going to take out Jaylen Brown. Because Jaylen Brown, to me, he had a good year, but it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was better this year, but I feel like it just wasn't like, I feel like the contract might have pushed him to a higher level in terms of being voted an all-star and all that stuff. I thought, like, even going into the all-star game, I was like, I mean, I guess so. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't, to me, wasn't like 1,000% great, but 23 a game, 5.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. Actually, his splits were good, but was it all NBA good is a whole other question.
I think the better question is, are those numbers better than other players?
No.
I don't even have LeBron on my list.
And you know what? I can't knock that because I struggle with LeBron too, and the reason being is because it's hard for me to pick two guys as all NBA players and they're in the 8th spot and they're fighting for the play-in again. It's hard for me to do that.
No.
As good as both of those guys are playing and like the season they're having, it's hard for me to give 2 spots out of the top 15 players for 2 guys that are in 8th place. It's just hard for me to do that.
Right.
So I'm gonna move out but Jaylen Brown respectfully. I'm gonna put in Curry. So mine is LeBron because prior to that I had LeBron, Curry, Maxey, Sabonis, and Jaylen Brown. But I'm gonna swap in Halliburton for Brown.
We don't have any ill will because of the fantasy now, do we?
Nah.
Okay, just checking there. Just checking.
Well, who did you have? Who'd you have again?
So Tyrese Halliburton, Devin Booker, Kawhi Leonard.
You hold on. I'm talking about your third team. You had somebody in the fantasy on the third team.
No, I don't think I had. There's only one person I have on my actual fantasy team that's actually on this list, and they're on the number 2.
All right. Well, knock off your second teamer.
On my second team, I got Luka. I got Ant Edwards. Position wise, I should have said Tyrese Maxey. Ant Edwards, I got him as a small forward. Even though
you got Luka on the second team.
I got him on the second team.
No, we gotta discuss this.
Definitely. Oh, we can definitely do that. I got Paolo Banchero and then Anthony Davis.
I want you to repeat your team one more time. I just want to be clear what you have.
Luka Doncic.
Mm-hmm.
Tyrese Maxey.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
Paolo Banchero.
Okay.
And Anthony Davis.
Okay. Other than the Seattle home cooking, that you have a Banchero.
Well, I mean,
why? I'm not gonna say why you got Luka number 2, but how come you got Luka on the second team?
You heard my number 1. I think you would understand why.
Okay.
But Luka being Luka, he's still doing the same thing. But in terms of the numbers, like he's almost averaging a triple-double. I can't put nothing past that. But when it comes to the regular season, and where the seeding is, it wasn't enough to get them higher. Now, mind you, the Western Conference is really tough. But I just feel that other players and what they did for the teams was a lot more than what Luka had done for the Dallas Mavericks. This is not to go against and say that he is not an All-NBA, number 1 All-NBA team player, but I just got some other players that are just above him right now.
I'm interested to hear what your number, what your first teamer is. I gotta say, I'm a little interested to hear what this is gonna be, but yeah, I don't have Luka number 2. No, I don't think Luka's number 2, but I'll give you my list, and I'll share my reasons why. And this list again was tough, and this is probably where we're gonna get into this dispute with the number 2 guy. I think I know where you're kind of going with this. I think I know where you're going with this, but my second team is AD, Ant-Man, Kawhi, KD,
yeah,
and Brunson.
How?
You said how?
I said wow.
Yeah.
You put Brunson on the number 2?
I put Brunson on the number 2, and it hurt me to do it too.
Crazy thing is,
it hurt me to do it too. I'm actually open to putting him number 1. We'll discuss our first team in a minute.
You even put KD on the number 2.
I did put KD as number 2. You know what? Because I do have 2 Lakers in there, and this is what I told you. The All NBA team was hard for me, man. This one wasn't easy. I actually have 2 Lakers in there, and I'm like, I can't put 2 of them in the top 10. I can't do it.
But KD really hurts. Jalen Brunson hurts.
Yeah, Brunson hurts. Brunson hurts. Like I said, I'm willing to put him number 1, but that one hurts me because Brunson has been. I mean, that has to be one of the greatest off-season signings the Knicks have ever had. It might be the best signing they've ever had. You're paying Brunson basically $25 million a year, right? Which in this landscape is like equivalent to like a high-level role player, maybe an all-star, right? In this landscape now where guys are getting $50 million, you're paying basically somebody who I felt even from last season is probably the number 1 player on the Knicks and face of the franchise more so than Julius Randle, and you're only paying $25 million for him. That guy right now, based on how he's playing, like if he was, put it this way, if he was going to be a free agent coming into this season, this offseason, he'd be making close to $300 million right now. So listen, I love Brunson. Like what he's been doing with the Knicks has been absolutely to the point where the team is basically made pretty much in his and Coach Tibbs' image. Like he's got his core of college guys on the team. They made trades. I mean, in terms of OG, I mean OG's been doing the OG thing, which is usually getting hurt. But when he's been out there, he's really fit tips and schemes. You have Precious that's been playing well. Hardelstein has been hooping. They got Mitchell Robinson back, but the team has that hard-nosed image, but it's made like Brunson. I don't know who the Knicks have signed in free agency. I have to almost go over the list, but off the top of my head, I can't think of a better, like, in terms of dollar for dollar value. I can't think of a better one that they would have had other than this. And I don't think Bernard King came to the Knicks as a free agent. I think he got traded. They drafted Patrick Ewing. They traded Carmelo Anthony. They traded for Sprewell. They traded for Allen Houston.
Well, if we're talking about free agency, I mean, there's a player this season that I would say would be the value that they can pay. Is they've exceeded that greatly. And the thing is, this one player has actually shown those flashes when he was with Milwaukee. He didn't really get too much with Golden State, but when he got to New York, there was something about him. I was like, yo, this guy, honestly, and he made it tough for me for my most improved player. Dante DiVincenzo.
You know what? That's also a great signing too. I actually thought, to be honest with you, I always thought that even when Milwaukee gave up on him, because remember when they lost him during I think the season when they won the title, because he was their starter, if you remember, but then he rolled his ankle, right?
Yeah, first round.
Yeah, but I always felt like they shouldn't have got rid of him. And Exhibit A. I mean, nobody was expecting this, mind you. This guy's hitting like 5 threes a game. Nobody was expecting that, but he fits in perfect. And he's getting paid like $12 million a year?
10.9.
Oh my God.
So then he's got 11.4, then 11.9, and then 12.5 of 26-27 season.
Yeah.
Value.
The Knicks, honestly, we've spent decades making fun of the Knicks in the front office, but Leon Rose on Worldwide West, they have it down on lock right now, because in terms of value, what they're getting for these guys and how they're producing, a lot of these guys are they're overplaying their contract. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I mean, the only thing is, I don't know what they're going to do with OG this summer, because, you know, you keep hearing he wants like max money. He wants like 30-something million a year. I don't think you can give that to him, but
I think they can.
You think they can, or you think they can't? They can.
No, I think they can. I think they can.
You think they can?
No, absolutely. I think they can. So you find a way to, I mean, for OG, he's got a player option for next year. He can opt out. Most likely he can. I mean, but then again, he's with Leon Rose's what? CAA? I don't know what it is. CCA?
Yeah, CAA.
CAA. Apparently, the majority of these players are all within that same organization. So you know how these backdoor deals work out. Either they say, "Oh, just sign on the player option," or if not, then we'll find something else and probably back in the contract. Because really, we're looking at next year. They only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 players on contract, and 2 of them are on team option. And Jericho Sims and Daquan Jeffrey. So let's just say one of them is probably not going to be coming back.
Right.
If Mitchell Robinson shows that he can be healthy again, Jericho Sims may not be back, because with that pickup with Precious Achiuwa, it's huge. Now, mind you, you throw money to Hartenstein. He might find that money somewhere else with another team with a bigger role. Because I feel like he could do a lot more than what the Knicks are doing with him. Mm-hmm. But that money is definitely available for OG. Knicks got it. The market's there. It's just a matter, are we going to go over the salary cap or not? And personally, I think what they end up doing this season in the playoffs, they might actually just push the envelope, and they might just do that, because we'll talk about that in a second. Because when we start talking about who we got coming out of the first round, the second round, and get to the finals, if that is up discussion, mm-hmm. I think you'll be pretty surprised at who I think is going to come out.
Okay, who's your first teamer?
My first team, Jalen Brunson, Jay, Alexander, okay. Got Jason Tatum. Got Kevin Durant.
Oh, you got KD on your first team. Okay.
100%. Nikola Jokic.
Okay, so we're not too far off.
I think it's worth mentioning the numbers that KD put up this season. I know there's this backdoor hate that everybody has on him. I don't know why. In 75 games, averaging 37 minutes, shooting 52% from the field.
I know.
52%. And shooting 41 from three. 85 from free throw. 6.6 boards, 5 assists, 1.2 blocks, and 0.9 steals, and averaging 27 points. I don't know how you don't put him in All-NBA number 1 team.
Well, for me, I mentioned mine now. Well, okay, so yours one more time is Brunson, KD,
Shea, Tatum, and Jokic.
Okay. So mine is Nikola, Giannis, Luka, Shea, and Tatum.
Let me ask you a question.
Well, before you ask the question, the reason why I have Tatum is because I wanted to reward. They are far and away the best team in the league, at least in the regular season. I would say they had the best record by far. I wouldn't say they're the best team. I still think the best team is Denver. But in terms of the regular season, they dominated the regular season outside of their matches with Denver, who they only played twice. Thank God. But he played really well. He always plays well. He's basically living on these All NBA teams now. But I thought this year, he actually played a little smarter. And they were just destroying people the whole year. You know what I mean? So I kind of wanted to reward that part, at least myself. That's why I went with him over KD. But jump in. You're gonna ask me a question.
I just want to know the decision that you made with this team. Is it skewed because of the market?
If it's skewed, you said?
Yeah, because of the market. Because you got Luka, and I feel like Luka, mind you, if we're looking at usage rates and everything, Luka has the highest usage rate. But what he does for the Dallas Mavericks is not comparable to Jalen Brunson on New York Knicks. And this is where my decision came in, as to why I put Luka in my number 2 as opposed to my number 1, because I'm still trying to follow the format as, point guard, shooting guard, forward, center, even though it's become positionless.
Yeah,
but
I went with positionless, as you can see, but
but I
tried to follow, which I hated, by the way. But go on.
But with what Luka does and the impact that he has with the Dallas Mavericks, I feel is not on the same levels as Jalen Brunson.
Well, I think definitely the second half of the year you could definitely argue that.
You think what? The first half that he was that guy, that he had the impact?
Who are you talking about, Luka?
Yeah, Luka.
I thought so, but I think what's his face carried more of a load, especially with after the trade and after Randall went down. He definitely. Don't get me wrong. He was the best player from even last year anyway. But I thought it went up another level and a half after Randall went down. I watched that game when, mind you, they were playing the Spurs. But I watched that game during March Madness where they played the Spurs, and the way he dropped that 62, bro, it's March Madness, and I was watching that game over what was going on, especially that first weekend, because what he was doing was it was effortless, man. He was taking shots. Honestly, he was taking shots over Wemby like he wasn't there. That shit is impressive for a guy that's maybe 6 feet tall. And what's even crazier, the fact that we are having a discussion right now about who's more important between Luka and Jalen Brunson. Do you feel like Mark Cuban is just throwing a whiskey bottle against the wall right now? Well, maybe not really, but you could have had him for $25 million.
Absolutely. Hold on. Do you think that Jalen Brunson would be doing the same thing he's doing in New York if he stayed with Dallas?
No, I thought it was great that he left.
Absolutely.
I thought he was great that he left. He should have left. But Kyrie's basically, like, now they kind of figured it out. I know we'll talk about Dallas later, but they kind of figured it out right now between him and Luka. And when you watch Kyrie play, Kyrie's basically Kyrie. And Luka's fine with it. You know what I mean? But, I mean, this possibly could have happened, but the way they ran the offense, it was so Luka-centric that he had to go. So I totally get it. Like, he had to spread his wings. I completely get it. But, like, when looking at it now, you're like, my God. The fact that it was so Luka-centric that he left a team where he was already averaging 20. He would have got more money retained based on the fact that he was in a tax-free state. And he still went to New York because it was kind of a similar money, and he still went to New York. So the fact that you're doing that, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, the fact that you left money on the table and left to go to New York to become this guy, like, how can you can't argue his decision, number one. But, like, for Cuban and those guys, like, I'm like, at this stage, I'm like, this is where it's like sometimes running that LeBron-ish offense where it's like one guy has to be filtered, everything has to be filtered through them. Sometimes it doesn't work for certain players. Like, as much as Luka shares the ball and those guys, it's like not everybody can flow under that. You know what I mean?
You're right. I don't disagree with that, but at the same time, man, you know what? I gotta leave this one. Because when we come back to this in the matchups for the playoffs, I know I told you something originally, and I think I might have to change it because I'm really indifferent right now.
Yeah, like I said, for me, it's just that's the issue I have with Cuban, because Cuban did this twice in his lifetime as being the owner. Could have paid Nash. Nash went on to be a 2-time MVP after he left.
No.
You got Brunson, and Brunson literally might be the face. Well, not literally might be. He is the face of the franchise for the NBA's, one of the NBA's like most historic franchises in the league, and is well deserved. He might be like top 3 in MVP voting, depending on how people vote, and it's warranted. He's been that good, and he might be top 5, legitimately top 3 to top 5 best low post players in the game too. Isn't that crazy?
That is extremely crazy. 5 top 3, you said?
In the league.
Yeah, I don't know about that though.
In the post, when it comes to footwork and stuff, I'm talking more like footwork and getting. There isn't too much players in the league that's better than him getting a shot off in the paint. I'm talking about in terms of posting guys up. Like, he's 6 feet posting up guys that are like 500-600 inches taller than him, and he's killing them.
Huh.
It's impressive, man. I did not. Let me be the first to say right now, I did not see Jalen Brunson being this guy, and forget even that for a second. I appreciate he spread his wings and stuff, and in New York, but when he was in Dallas, I didn't think he was going to be that good. I was like, yo, he's good, but he hogs the ball a lot. After about the first half of the season, no, but after the first half of the season last year and the Knicks, I was like, yo, I think I might be wrong. Like, I'm willing to admit I was wrong on Brunson. Like, I was off. I was off on Brunson.
I believed in him. He was actually one guy I was trying to get in fantasy, but somehow he didn't get dropped when he was supposed to. But it's okay. It's okay.
I didn't see it coming, Batch. I didn't see it coming.
I had him primed to be that top goal getter for my point guard position, but he didn't drop. But it's okay. I'm gonna find him. Eventually, he's gonna drop, and then we'll see what happens. But I believe in that guy. I believe in him.
Well, he's gonna go for some money now. I'll tell you that now. Unless you trade for him, he's gonna go for some money now in our league. But so I'm just gonna repeat my teams once again. My third team: LeBron, Curry, Maxey, Halliburton, and Sabonis. My second team is AD, Brunson, Ant-Man, KD, and Kawhi. And my first team is Luka, Giannis, Shea, Tatum, and Jokic. And the Joker. It was hard because, like I said, it's, there's choosing the All-NBA team this year was difficult because all the players mentioned, like I said, missing the threshold. I mean, I don't think Embiid would have been able to play enough games anyway, but he definitely would have been on one of these 3 teams, like, without a doubt, if he was healthy or if he made it past that threshold.
Right.
Mitchell's another guy. Shit, you can flirt with you can flirt with with Kyrie being that guy, and at least in one of the All NBA spots. At least he could flirt with him. I'm not saying he would have made it, but he could definitely flirt with that. Especially how he came on the second half of the season. Him and Zion, the second half of the season really came on too. And man, I know he's a rookie. We'll get to that rookie spot in a moment, but man, seeing what Wemby did. I mean, he's got time. I wouldn't give it to him now, but he could at least be an honorable mention the way he finished off the year. His stats were just ridiculous, especially this last month or so. But we're gonna get to those categories, or at least the rookie of the year category in a moment. But we'll move on to the individual awards. So I know we got a lot of stuff to cover. So let's go over the sixth man. Who's your sixth man of the year?
I got Malik Monk.
I'll save the drama. Me too.
But the thing is, though, I got a close spot to beat him out in Karis LeVert.
Oh wow, okay.
I was indifferent because maybe more so because Malik got injured, but because he got injured, I think it kind of led me to look more into other players. Like, I don't know. You got Tim Hardaway Jr. He's just too inefficient for me. Then you got someone like Nazir Reed, who did quite well.
Who I really like, by the way. Like I really like Nas Reed.
I think a lot of people were giving chatter for Emmanuel Quickly before he got traded to the Raptors.
Yeah.
But I think Malik Monk consistently, that guy, the spark off the bench. Malik Monk brought that energy. Even with his assists, it was actually a guy where he went from just being a fire starter to basically actually distributing it as well. And I think it actually hurt. Was it the Davion Mitchell? Like they had to go through. They had to go through a couple lineups, right? Because now you got Ellis. You have Ellis right now that's basically taking over for Kevin Huerter. But Kevin Huerter was losing minutes. It was between him. Chris Duarte kind of took over at one point for a couple games. Davion Mitchell had a couple games. It's almost like they couldn't figure out who they wanted to be at the two spot. But consistently, Malik Monk led that charge.
Yeah, I think to add to that, he became a much better playmaker this year. To your point, just watching him play, like the stats kind of bear it out as well. But if you watch the games, like he was definitely more willing to share that rock. Like he wasn't like a Cam Thomas.
Oh man, how you gotta say it like that for?
Hey man, listen, Cam Thomas is nice, but yo, if you passing the ball, you just go for the you ain't getting that ball back. Just forget it. He is not swinging it back to you.
Yeah, I feel bad for the next category.
Okay, well, I mean, before we get to that, it's funny. I want to. You're saying Karis LeVert. I think another guy that I like too was. I don't think the stats completely bear it out, but in terms of how he played coming off the bench, how he filled in the starter's role at times, I like Bobby Portis this year. I thought he was one of the more important assets that the Bucks had this year. Like I really like watching him. Like he played well. Like he had a lot of big games this year, and it was necessary because of injury and stuff, right? But I thought he played well.
I feel like he did better than the seasons prior. To be honest with you.
Okay, but I felt like I said, maybe it was more so the games that he started, but I felt like he had some like big games, like a lot of big games this year. Like to the point where like they're going into this series with the Pacers, and I mean, he might be their second best scorer right now, depending on what you're going to get out of Middleton. But again, we'll cover that in a little bit later. But I'm just looking at like I want to give shout out to Portis as well. I'm not saying he was gonna take this, but I got to give him like a mention as well because I Monk and Nas Reed were the guys that I was like kind of really looking at. There was some good guys coming off the bench this year for sure. Well, you did mention the most improved, so let's get to that then. Who's your most improved? I guess I know where you're going with.
Yeah, it's gotta be Cam Thomas, man.
Man.
But now hold on. The crazy thing is, he wasn't my definite though. I actually wanted to put DiVincenzo, Dante DiVincenzo on it, but apparently DiVincenzo didn't play enough minutes, so it makes him ineligible.
Okay.
I was leaning more towards DiVincenzo over Cam Thomas.
I mean, it's good for Cam Thomas, but like, you know, I'm looking at the stats right now. That was not a great team this year. We thought Miles Bridges was gonna Michael Bridges was gonna be somewhat more of a better scorer. We was wrong with that. We thought Cam Johnson was gonna be somewhat of a better scorer. We was wrong with that. You know, they fired their coach. I think they just let him reign. They just let him run wild. But
it sounds a little personal, man.
No, but I'm saying like in like if he was on a playoff team, like if he was even in this playing games on one of these teams right now, would he be doing the same shit? Absolutely not. But the kid can score though, man. Yeah, he can really score.
He showed flashes of that the seasons prior, but again, he didn't get the opportunity to fully go off. But this season, he got the keys. Man, he did exactly what he was capable of doing from when he was with LSU. I believe he was with before.
Yeah, he went to LSU. Yeah.
Right. He's showing that he can drop buckets even in the league, which is pretty hard to do from over here. I feel like he's deserving of the most improved player,
especially at that size too, because he's not the biggest guy either. And it's funny because you always hear these stories about when KD was over there and he really thought he was the best like one-on-one player on the team. Like KD used to be like, "Yo, this guy's nuts. This guy thinks he can whip my ass." Like one-on-one wise, he really believes this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can see with the way he played this year, you can see where that confidence. Like I kind of believe that he believes that. You know what I mean?
So
yeah, no.
I think he actually believes that he can actually outplay Mikal Bridges.
Well, I mean, he kind of did. He led them in scoring,
but like consistently, like I feel like Mikal Bridges was able to do what he was supposed to do because of the coaching. And I feel like their scheme was a little bit different, which is weird because when he got traded there, he was going off, and then coming to the next season, it was just completely different. Like it was like, well, what happened? What happened to him? I'm not too sure what went wrong with that, but I mean, you got a new coach coming in. Whenever they find out who that is,
well, are they going to keep Ollie?
Oh, I think they're gonna find someone else.
You think they're gonna? Yeah, actually, they are still looking. I think they are looking at other people actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess we got to see where it turns out. But I feel like with Bridges, I feel like you ever see that Wolverine meme where he's stroking the picture?
Oh,
you never seen that meme? Well, he's in bed stroking the picture, Wolverine from X-Men. But in the picture they always put, the meme they always put different people. Like they superimpose Kawhi's face stroking the picture of the Raptors, when the Clippers were doing well. But I feel like he's doing that with the Knicks right now because all his Villanova guys are over there in New York tearing shit up, literally across the bridge. And I mean, he might still be in Brooklyn, but is he going to be low key showing up at a lot of these Knicks games this playoffs? Would he want to get traded there? Who knows? I'm sure he's happy where he's at. He's got his own squad, but there's no amount of value on that. There's only one of 30 opportunities where you can be like the guy on the squad or one of the two guys on the squad, right? So, but I'm just saying, like for him, it's like, man, like you're watching the success of all your guys, and they're literally crossing. It's not like they live in another part of the in another part of the country. They're literally like 10 minutes away from it. They probably live in the same building. You know what I'm saying? They probably live in the same neighborhood. And watching them have all the success right now, and everybody's going crazy to the Knicks, and like Brooklyn is basically forgotten right now. They are basically forgotten in that city.
Tell a New Yorker that I don't know if they might not that might not sit well with them there.
What, in Brooklyn?
Yeah, nah, man, they'll be pissed off.
Nah, please, they would agree with me.
Think so? Nah, I know they're hardcore fans. They're real. They get real tight when they lose, but I don't think they'll accept that though.
Yeah, that's wild, man. I my most improved I struggled with I actually struggled with that because I had two players. It wasn't Cam Thomas, but my choice is Kobe White. My choice is Kobe White because I think he basically locked up the point guard position in Chicago, no matter what direction they go, because he's been really good for them. And mind you, yes, it's like the light switch finally went off, and that's what happens sometimes in the league. There's certain players sometimes where it may take them a few years to get it. Right opportunity, just right amount of minutes. You know what I mean? Like they get more of the green light. You just don't know. But some guys, the switch goes off a little later than other players, right? Just because of opportunity. But I feel like this year he was really good this year. I know everybody's choosing like Maxey to be that guy, but it's hard for me to. For me, it's hard for me to choose guys like Maxey because you knew when Harden left, you knew he was going to be an all-star. It's kind of designed like for him to be that number 2 guy. So when you're thrusted into that role, it's hard for me to pick you as the most improved when we know you're going to be getting a ton of these shots, right? And I mean, and credit to him because he did the work. And I mean, mind you, I have him on one of the all NBA teams, so so I'm not devaluing him, but at the same time, it's like it's just hard for me to go at that certain number. You know what I mean? Like. It's hard for me to choose what everybody's choosing with Maxey because, like I said again, like the stars were already lined up for him. You know what I mean? But somebody like Kobe White, I mean, shit, was he even starting the beginning of the year? We don't even know, right?
No, I think he was.
But point being, like, you know what I mean? Like he wasn't gonna. Some of it was injuries too, but again, like the role that he took on this year with this squad, I mean, you got to keep him. And
absolutely,
you got to keep him. He's making DiVincenzo money, and he's a starting point guard. You got to keep him. Like whatever direction you go, like he's here to stay, basically, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good pick in terms of with Kobe White. Now, I mean, you made the comparison with DiVincenzo in terms of the money aspect. Do you feel that he's more valuable than DiVincenzo and what he brings?
Well, it's hard to say, right? Because I mean, you see what DiVincenzo's doing for the Knicks right now, right? And some of that is injuries too, right? But like he really stepped up. It's hard to say, but could he have done what DiVincenzo's doing in New York? It's hard to say. Maybe he could have, but let me just looking at his stats again. Yeah, 19 a game, 4.5 rebounds, 5 assists. He has good splits. 38% from 3, 45% overall from the field. 84% free throw shooter. Yeah, Kobe White. Like he was solid, man. Like I can't knock him. But it's funny. You'll laugh when I say this, but the other guy that I was flirting with too was Jalen Johnson.
I don't know if I go most improved with that.
Yeah, I mean it's debatable, but I think my reasoning, at least for me, was I don't think he would have played enough anyway for him to be qualified for it. But I think the part of it with him, actually, I don't think he was qualified to get it anyway. But
that's Kuzma's fault, by the way.
Yeah, you said it's Kuzma's fault.
Oh yeah, man, he ruined the Atlanta Hawks season. I'm definitely blaming him for that one.
Oh, he stepped on his foot.
What did he do? Nah, he was on a fast break, and what did he do? I don't want to say undercutted him, but it was to the point where that's how he messed up his wrist. It was like, man. You Kuz, you could just let him be, man. Just let him go, man. He was gone. He wasn't blocking that anyways.
No,
boy, he'd be flying, man.
And the thing with him too is because when John Collins when he got traded to Utah, right? Like you thought they were just that was a money dump, but at the same time you're like, okay, well, they're gonna just fill this up with a sum of all parts kind of thing, right? But he's made them forget about him in Atlanta. And not to say like Collins was a superstar going in, but like based on the kind of contract he's on right now, he put up very similar stats. He's probably easier to play with than Collins in Atlanta right now, based on the guards that you have. Like I think that's where I was more looking at it from that perspective. But my guy was Kobe White though. But I was looking at him from that perspective too, where I was like, yo, like this guy just, not to say he came out of nowhere, but again, it's another high flying forward from in Atlanta, but like he's probably more efficient.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And he's younger and he costs less. You know what I mean? I don't know when his contract is coming out to take a look at that, but he's only 22.
I feel sorry for your team, man. Come the next 2 years.
Sorry for my because I have him on my team. Oh, I gotta give up, guys.
a lot of these cats you naming off, man, they on your squad, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Just for people listening, yeah, we're in a keeper league, and how does it work? Every 3 years, we got to drop. We can only keep them for 3 years maximum. So, and then depending on the value, I got a lot of up and coming guys that are growing up in value. But let's see. Hopefully, value wise, money wise, in terms of fantasy bucks, are still under the radar. Let's see how that works out. Let's go with coach of the year. Who's your coach of the year?
Make sure I say this guy's name right. I don't even know if I'm saying it properly. I don't want to butcher it. But the Oklahoma City coach.
Yes, yeah, that's again, that's mine too. Save the suspense. Mark Daniel, yeah.
And there you go. Okay. I think just for the fact that even from when he first took over the head coaching position, he went from 22 wins from the 2021 season to 24 to 40, then to 57. And to do that in the Western Conference with a young team.
I know. And this Western Conference, too. Right.
I don't think anybody can top that. I mean, you got the Boston Celtics that did well with Joe Mazzulla. They're a well-coached team. But I feel that some of that would be from the additions that was made. So I think that more goes towards the front office and making the moves that they made in terms of adding Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis.
It's like getting a keys to the S class.
There you go. I mean, I'm not a fan of the Bears, but it's okay. Yeah, we go with that.
You know what I'm trying to get at, though.
Yeah, definitely. I think Mark did a good job with assembling this team and then finding a way to make it work, especially with someone with Chet coming in from injury, not knowing what his role was going to be, but he made sure that he just fit right into that whole system. With Shea and Jalen Williams already kind of taking the forefront, and even kind of mixing it with Josh Giddey. He had his problems and issues in the beginning of the season, but he managed to make it work. And then, but Lou Dort, him being a defensive guy, but he put up quite a bit of shots.
He played well offensively this year.
Mm-hmm.
He shut a lot of people up. I'm proud of him, though. That's Montreal zone. Stand up,
Montreal
zone.
There you go.
Stand up. Fleur de lis. But honestly, I'm happy for the way he played, though, offensively, because people are making it seem like he was like Draymond Green. Right?
What?
Like that's not, no, but seriously, that's what people are making it sound. No, I'm talking about like offensively, like he can't score. Like that's what they're making him sound, when it's like, well, no, I mean, in real life, all NBA players can score. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the roles that you're given. But like what he did in terms of improving his shot was great. But go on.
No, I was just saying. I don't really have much more to say with that, but just what he did was just, it was just well done. That's all I can say to that.
I mean, and then to me, there's many candidates this year because, Mike Malone did a great job at Denver. I know they're the defending champions, but, when you start winning championships, it's hard for you to get the coach of the year after that, but he did a great job. Chris Finch did a great job in Minnesota. I have Mazzulla on my list as well, even though, like I said, he got the keys to the S class. Coach Tibbs did a great job this year. I know he likes to treat his players like a winter beater, because you saw DiVincenzo played. He played all 53 minutes on Sunday night's game.
Against Chicago.
He did not sit the bench at all, other than to drink water during timeouts, and I don't even know if he even sat for that. But he likes to treat him like a winter beater. And if you don't believe me, ask Luol Deng. Ask his bones. Ask his joints. if they disagree with what I'm saying. And then we also got Doc Rivers. Nah, I'm playing. We ain't got Doc Rivers. I'm joking. But but honestly, to echo your point, and to me, one of the most competitive conferences, like in years, and to leap from the last point of the play-in last year, the 10th spot to number 1 is unbelievable. And he's got to get credit for that. And they were great from day one, like in the season. Like it wasn't like halfway through the year they got hot. Like they were basically kicking ass from pretty much the first couple weeks of the season. So he had them ready to play like from the start. I mean, you know what Shea was gonna do, but like the way he handled everybody else, like to me, it can't be anybody else but him.
Think Shea? You expected Shea to be this nice? I'm not gonna lie, I did not.
No. Okay, are you asking that in terms of coming into the NBA or coming into this season?
Into the season.
No, I did just because of what he did last year, and then coming into the World Championships, like what he did for the World Championships. I'm like, nah, you can see where that's gonna. I mean, and think about it. How he played in the World Championship, he was probably the best player in the world, during that tournament, and that tournament was in September. You're rolling right into training camp with that momentum. So to me, that's why I was like, nah, I expected big things from him this year. Did I expect him coming into the league for him to be this? No way. I did not think. Even though I liked him coming out of Kentucky, I didn't see this. But coming into this season, yes, just because of the momentum from the World Championships, because he balled the hell out during those games. And I mean, really and truly, he did basically the same thing in the World Championships that he did in the NBA this season and last season. Like it wasn't really anything different. You know what I mean? It's probably a little more efficient now.
I think he kicked it up a notch.
Yeah, I think so too. Man, he's so nice to watch, man. Like he's so nice to watch. And like I said, it's funny. After the World Championships, I was like, yo, this is, we're fresh off Jaylen Brown getting his $300 million contract. I'm like, well, he's about to get his too. Like by the time his career is going to be over, the way as long as he doesn't get injured, he's going to make close to $1 billion just on salary. Because I don't think that's not crazy. Because it's not going to be his first $300 million contract. He's probably going to get a second one if he keeps playing like this.
Right.
So
we're including incentives too and everything, and all-star appearances.
Right. He's gonna knock all that out. I mean, this is, I mean, pretty much from watching him play last year, I was kind of like, the way he's playing, and then watching how he did in the World Championships, you're kind of like, you know what? He's setting himself up to be in a position where he's going to be living on this all NBA list. And I'm not talking 13.
Nah,
I'm not talking 13. You know what I mean? Like he, for the next, unless he gets hurt, for the next, I would say 4 to 5 years, he's not going lower than second on any of these lists.
Personally, I don't think he'll even touch second.
I don't think so either. I think he's that good. Like I don't think so either.
Yeah.
So I mean, shout out to him, but man, that was, man, he's been amazing, man. It's great to watch. Okay, so we knocked off the most improved 6-man and coach of the year. Oh man, let's get to defensive player of the year. I want to hear who you have.
Rudy Gobert.
You got Rudy Gobert? Okay.
You better not say it, man. You're gonna say it, aren't you?
Damn it, I'm gonna say it.
Oh man. You gotta be joking, right?
Well, you know what? Here's the case I'll make. And really and truly, I have Rudy Gobert. But
okay.
But honestly, I up until probably about this afternoon, I kind of flirted. I was really flirting hard with Wemby. At least flirting with Wemby getting the defensive player of the year. And here's the case you can make for him at least, right? Led the league in blocks, as we know, right? Like 3.6 blocks a game. I didn't realize he was 1.2 blocks more per game than the second leading block getter, which is almost unheard of, right? Okay. I've watched, because I watched a lot of Spurs games this year, right? Because I got locked into the interest of Wemby from watching him in preseason, so I watched a lot of Spurs games this year. Too many games I watched where he completely changed defenders' shots. Forget blocking shots and steals. Just defending shots and player movements. throughout the games when he was on the floor. It actually got better as the season went along. You know what I mean? And Memphis recently being the most egregious because the last 2 games we played against him, he completely screwed up their fast break. I don't know if you caught that, but he screwed up a 3-on. If you YouTube a 3-on-1 fast break of Wemby, he destroyed the fast break on its own. They couldn't even get the shot off. They were too scared to shoot on a 3-on-1. And then I saw that in the highlight. And the one game I was watching is when I think they were in San Antonio and Scottie Pippen Jr. was got the fast break and Wemby was trailing him. And as soon as he looked over his shoulder and saw who it was, my man swung right. He didn't even go to the basket no more. He swung right, kicked it back to his man. I think it might have been Almada. He kicked it to him. He saw Wemby and he went left. I've never seen anything like that. Like these guys didn't even bother trying to look at the basket on a 2-on-1 fast break.
You know what's weird though? They're in the bottom 10 of defense.
No,
they're not even good defensively as a team.
I agree, but here's the thing again. He's got 1.2 steals a game as well, which was like he was in the top 15 or top 20 in the categories for steals, which is again that's wild for a guy that's also leading the league in block shots. He averaged 6.5 blocks a game in April. 6.5. Their defense, the Spurs defense was terrible. We know that, right? I'm not going to disagree with that. But especially after the after the All-Star break, anytime Wemby was on the floor, the defense was 6th. They were 6th in the league, especially the last month and a half of the season. They were 6th. And as soon as he stepped off the floor, they were 28th.
I'm going to need you to send me that stat.
What's that?
I'm going to need you to send me that stat.
Yo, I'll send it to you. But they were 6th. They were 6th overall when he was on the floor and 28th as soon as he came off of it. So I don't want to take anything away from Gobert because, again, beating the anchor of the best defense in the league, you got to give him props for that. And up until the last day of the season, they could have still got the number 1 spot as well. So he's going to walk away with his 4th and Defensive Player of the Year. You got to give it to him just in the light of the fact that, again, you can't give it to somebody his team was that bad defensively. But again, it really stuck out when he wasn't on the floor. When he was on the floor, he alone made them a top 10 defense, some nights top 5. Especially the last month or change of the season. To me, that's insane. And that's where I'm you definitely could make the case. You could definitely make the case that he was Defensive Player of the Year. And I said this when the season started, that he will win Defensive Player of the Year within 3 years, well before he ends his rookie contract. And shit, he's probably honestly, Batch, he's probably gonna get the second. He's probably gonna come second in that category.
Man, some bold statements, man.
Dude, I'm only saying this because I watched a lot of the Spurs games. So that's the only reason why I can make these that I'm making these comments, man. But I'm he's definitely gonna finish second. I cannot see him finishing anything less than second. Gobert's gonna get it, but I think he's gonna finish second. But trust me, I flirted with making him go number 1 for winning this award. I flirted with it just because of the way he changes. It's just crazy. It's and the thing is, I mean, we'll get to the Rookie of the Year, and I think we both know who that's gonna be too. But
what? I think you might be different with what I'm saying because you sound like you're on one side already.
Oh no, we're not gonna do this. Okay, let's get to the rookies. Let's go.
Oh man, are you serious?
Man.
You got him winning Rookie of the Year?
Come on, Batch. You're playing with me now.
No, absolutely not. Not even close.
Who's the Rookie of the Year for you?
Chet Holmgren.
You gotta be. God. Okay, go ahead.
So
state your
Chet Holmgren played 82 games.
Okay.
Starters. Their minutes per game is identical. Wemby is shooting 5 times more than Wemby than Chet. Let's put it this way: the usage rate for Wemby is 32%. Usage rate for Chet is 21.6. So I'm going to read off Chet's stats to you: 82 games, played 29 minutes, averages about 11 shots per game, shooting 53%, 37 from three. The free throws are identical. Rebounds, not as good as it should be for someone his size, but at 7.9, assists 2.4, blocks at 2.3, steals at 0.6, 1.6 turnovers, averaging 16. And this is a usage rate of 21.6. Okay? Wemby played 71 games, averaged 29 minutes, averaged 16 shots a game.
He averaged 29 minutes, too. He was on a minutes restriction for a good chunk of the season, too, on top of that.
Right. So what do you think will change with these numbers? Because now we're talking about the field goal percentage for 7-4. Were we 7-4 or 7-6? What number are we using right now?
He's 7-4.
7-4, and he's shooting 46% from the field. Shouldn't be happening. He don't have to jump. If he's at the hoop, he don't have to jump at all. Ain't nobody blocking his shot. He shooting 3-point wise, he's shooting 32%. He about to touch the 20s. Come on, man, that's crazy. Why are you shooting threes anyways? He's shooting more threes than Chet, I think.
Absolutely. I don't have the amount of threes he shot per game. It definitely improved as the season went on, though. Because that's the funny thing too with Wemby. The one thing that I think Coach Pop was getting ripped for a lot was the way that he was using Wemby. Because it feels like with the Spurs this year was like Pop's treated this season like a social experiment, and we know that because you had Sohan playing point guard for at least half the season, right? And as much as we rip Jeremy Sochan or Sohan, however you say his name, for playing point guard, when he finally took him out of that spot and now he's playing, going back to playing like a 3-4 or mostly 4, I think it kind of helped his development as a player. Because when you're watching him now work without the ball and, work from the power forward position, you could see there was a better ball sense that he had when he started. And I would have to think that was from, running the offense and doing that, even though we were all ripping it apart, and rightfully so. But I think there was a method to the madness of it, and I think that was part of the reason why, was to help guys like him just have a better ball awareness, a better ball IQ. And I think that kind of raises IQ a little bit. But with the Wemby aspect, there was weeks where Wemby was barely posting up. And I think sometimes the stats reflected that. And I think at some point of the season, it's like he finally went back down low and then he started really doing work. To me, where you can make the case for Chet is only because he's contributing to a team that was number one, in the Western Conference. And there's value in that for sure. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like he was maybe like the fifth option. You know what I mean? You went to him a lot of nights. He played in a lot of big games. He played in a lot of big moments. And, I can't say he always succeeded, but at the same time, it's you got to give him props for being a part of that the whole year. He played in a lot of big games. You know what I mean? So, but
do you think Wemby is more efficient?
Not that I think he's more efficient, but I think he's the better player. Me and you've been going back and forth with this throughout the year. but Wemby's stats, the efficiency, if you want to make the argument, okay. But impact wise, he's had probably one of the best rookie seasons in definitely this century for sure. When you think of in terms of, because who else put up the stats that he put up? The only guys that I could think that's close to that was maybe Blake Griffin's rookie year. I think Blake Griffin averaged about 21 and 12. But definitely didn't have the assist, didn't have the blocks. He didn't have the defensive presence. You know what I mean? How many rookies were flirting with a possible All-NBA spot? You can't even say that about LeBron's first year.
Absolutely not, because Carmelo should have won that, but we'll leave that one alone, though. But I'm he honestly he's the rookie season that he had is probably comparable to people are trying to say Jordan. I wouldn't go that far, but you could. It's comparable to people are saying Shaq. I don't even want to go that high because that Shaq rookie season was pretty crazy, but it is comparable to that. I wouldn't say Tim Duncan because Tim Duncan put up similar numbers, but Tim Duncan was first team All-NBA his rookie year. Wemby's not going to be that.
So I can't put him over that. You know what I mean? Like, and that's, to me, that's insane. You're all NBA your rookie year. You know what I mean? And you're not like a super flashy guy and all that stuff either. But to me, I'm like, nah, it's got to be Wemby. When they went head to head, you know, especially the last couple of games, he got the better of him on that too. You know what I mean? Like, I get what you're saying, no, but I would only give it to him, like Chet. I only give him points only because he's playing on like an elite team in the Western Conference. You know, and Wemby's far from that. But man, like to say he didn't have impact on these games, man, it's like, again, I watched a lot of these Spurs games, man. I didn't get a chance to watch them when they played Denver, where they basically knocked Denver out of the number one spot for good. But
I'm
like,
trying to figure out how that even happened. So, but man, that's something else.
Is the impact, man? Dude, there was a stretch. He had 17 points in 3 minutes in the second half. Like, nah, to me, it can't be anybody else but Wemby. To me anyway. And the thing is, with the two of them, though, I love that they borderline don't like each other. They're kind of like Drake and Kendrick when they play each other, man.
Is that what we're really doing right now?
No, but I'm saying, though, like that, they have that kind of animosity when they play each other. It's not like, you know how it is, this AAU culture where everybody's dapping up. It's all love. It's all hugs. Where you going for dinner? Let's do this. You can see these two guys, they tolerate each other. They tolerate it. They're definitely not hanging with each other after games. 1,000%. That's not happening. You know, so to me, that's where I'm like, I love the fact, like, we're gonna get these guys for the next 10 years. I pray both of them stay healthy, but I love the fact that these guys aren't. You can see they're not crazy about each other. I love it. And it was like that from the preseason games. If you watch them, like when they played each other in the preseason, it was like that from they both go after each other, whether it's a blowout or a close game. It's like the scoreboard doesn't matter when the two of them are playing against each other. I love that. But to me, it has to be. I mean, we'll agree to disagree, but to me, it has to be Wemby.
All right.
No, and listen, this is your choice. This is not like who you think is going to get it, right? This is your choice. So if you want to go,
I know popular vote's probably going to go to Wemby, but it shouldn't go to Wemby.
Nah, we definitely gonna disagree on that. To me, it has to go to Wemby, man. It has to go to Wemby.
Has to go to Wemby for Rookie of the Year.
Yes. Since the All-Star break, 23 and a half, 12 boards, five and a half assists, 4.5 blocks.
22 games.
Sorry? I'm talking about since the All-Star break.
Okay. They still won only 22 games, though.
Yeah, the last 22 games. Sure. Okay, that's fine. But and it's funny because, you know, as great as he played during the season, especially the second half of the season, you can still see, like, the rookiness in him. And what I mean by that is, like, there were some games where you could see, like, he didn't have his legs fully. There'd be certain points where you could see, like, he was hitting a bit of a rookie wall, which is understandable because when you're coming from a season where you're playing 30 games, kind of like college, right? When you're going from 30 to 82, like, and we both know guys that played in the league, that adjustment that first year is a real thing. It's a lot of games, but to me, it's kind of like Bambi still getting his legs. You know, like this is probably going to be, and you can say this for Chet too, but this is probably going to be the worst year he's going to have, barring injury, for the next 10, 15 years. Like what is Wemby going to look like by like year 3, much less like year 5?
That'll be scary.
I mean, it's scary now. It's scary now, and you know, like he hasn't hit his man strength. Like I said, he's made it. You know, like he's made it around the globe in terms of that. I mean, he's made it around the league once. You know what I mean? Like he's like, as it's funny. I remember Kenny Smith made this comment where he was like, once he sees everybody one time, you're gonna see the leap, and he was dead on about that. When he saw everybody the second time around, like everybody got the work the second time. And especially for the Western Conference, the third and the fourth time or what have you, right? But like I think in a couple of years, like, man, it's gonna be a problem. And the thing was with him too, like you could see he's got that little bit of that bravado. Like he wants to smoke, he wants that work. I love that, man. I love it. Like I love that about him. And trust me, and you're talking to a guy who, when all the hype was on him before, last year, I was kind of like, man, you sure? Like, look how skinny he is. He's 7'4". Like the history with guys that are 7'4", their injury history, I've explained this many times that it's not great. You know what I mean? And he's only in year one. The fact that he played 70 games, that's good for him. I hope, like I said, he can sustain that. And I think that's why sometimes you saw like the way the Spurs are treating him. Like, I mean, he rolled his ankle and they had him on a minutes restriction for almost a month. Right? So like you can see, so I think that has something to do with it too, right? That like historically guys that tall, usually they don't last as long, right? The last guy that kind of played like him was like that kind of style where he played in and out, inside out was Ralph Sampson, right? Like he was the last guy to kind of be that player, but he eventually went down with knee injuries and foot injuries, and he was never the same after about his fourth or fifth year in the league. So I'm hoping he doesn't follow that kind of his path, and I hope he doesn't follow that path. Shout out to Brandon Miller as well too, who had a great year, and you want to say the Thompson twins?
I'll give you that.
More so a sore. Like I don't know what Monty Williams was doing with a sore. Remember we were talking about this guy was getting a double. He was basically getting a double in like the first like 20-something games of the year, and then he just started giving him like DNPs and stuff. It made no sense.
Well, no, you know what? Yeah, the injury went ahead and shut it off, and then Fontecchio came in, and then Fontecchio just did well. Mind you, he was doing that for the Italian national team.
Yeah.
And he was good, right?
Yeah.
So I think Monty Williams probably saw something better in terms of like a sore. He's inefficient when it comes to scoring.
Right.
But he'll do everything
else. Right. You'll do everything else. But I thought he should have played a little bit more. But again, with Brandon Miller, like if you're the Hornets, do you just start over again and just trade LaMelo?
Not winning games, so you need something else to get people to come to the game.
Yeah, I mean that'd be the only reason why I would keep him, because to me the way he plays does not translate to wins at all. And I think I'm not even trying to knock ball. Like I think he can hoop. You know what I mean? But like the way he plays, it doesn't like you. If you watch some of these Hornets games, man, it's like the decisions he makes sometimes at games. You're kind of like, not to say he should have went to college. It's almost like a stallion, but it's like there needs to be some sort of structure there. You know what I mean? And it's like the way he plays, it's so free flowing. He's a smart player. He has all the talent, but man, like it does not translate to wins. It doesn't come close. And then he can't stay healthy on top of that too. I know his father's blaming the Pumas, but he's going to go back to running the balls.
He sure did. He sure did say. He said, "Man, wearing them raggedy shoes and doing them raggedy trainings." Oh man, that guy, he is nonstop. I haven't heard from that guy in a minute. I feel like he's about to make a comeback.
I hope not. I did not miss him at all. Not at all. But I'm telling you what, but Brandon Miller, man, like, yo, that guy, man, he can go. He can definitely go. MVP. I pretty much know who you're going to select. But
Absolutely.
So let's get this over with.
Chet.
You said Chet? Chet's your MVP?
You're funny. Chet.
So why is it Joker for you?
Oh, no, it ain't Joker. I got Shea.
Oh, you see, you got Shea. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got Shea.
Oh,
yeah, I got Shea. It was Joker. But again, man, Shea, he can lead that team, man. This is why I said what I saw him do this season. I saw a glimpse of it in the what do you call it, the World Championships. That was what we call it. But this season, oh man. And the thing is, he's not on Kyle Anderson's pace. He's not on a slow-mo pace. Right. But he plays at his own pace to where he's controlling the tempo. And you're not even stopping him. It's almost to the point where I actually want to say I see a little bit of Kobe from him. And I think I might be going a little too far with that, but the way he plays, I'm like, man, this guy, man, he's really good.
He's herky jerky.
He plays defense. That's the crazy.
Yeah, now he plays defense. Yeah, he definitely.
Right.
I mean, he just lost the steals category, like basically the last week of the season. But for most of the year, he was basically leading the league in steals.
Yeah, man. He's putting in some real work, man. I feel like, and again, you lead a team, mind you. It was a three-way tie pretty much for the first place spot in for the Western Conference. But I think at the end of the day, I would still give it to Shea. Again, for a guard to shoot 53%.
I know.
You don't see that too often.
No. And what's crazy is, he low key has in terms of mid range, he's basically replaced DeMar.
I would agree with that.
He doesn't shoot a lot of threes, but I feel like he can shoot them. You know what I mean? Like, and let me not knock DeMar because DeMar can shoot them now too. But like, once he starts taking a few more of those a game, where is that scoring average going to go?
Right. Yeah, that'll be crazy though.
Once he gets 18 feet in, like, forget it. Like, it's unstoppable. It's a bucket.
Yeah. It's
a bucket. It's an assist or it's a foul. It's one of the three. But the success rate of that is like extremely high.
Right.
You know what I mean? And honestly, I went with Joker, but I was very tempted to choose him as well because, the job that he's done, man, like, the team is going to go as far, and the playoffs are going to go as far as he goes. And I know they're young, they're inexperienced, and I know there's, you kept hearing, I don't know if you saw some of these shows where they're talking about the Lakers should lose tonight, as we're recording this game, and to avoid Denver and try to play for the 8th spot so they can play OKC, and and I think that's honestly one of the. Sometimes this is why every now and again I kind of hate watching sports shows because you got to make up shit like that. Like I can't believe that was a topic of conversation. Like maybe they should lose this play-in game so they can play in to avoid Denver so they can possibly lose in another play-in game and not even make the playoffs. That's idiotic. You know what I mean?
So hold on, you don't think that LeBron's already thinking that? You think LeBron wants to see Denver?
Of course not, but you can't do that as a pro. Listen, you can't, like, this is not a series. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it'd be one thing if it's like the plan was a best of 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, that'd be one thing. But like, they could if they lose tonight and then they go ahead and then they lose against Sacramento, Golden State, and you're out of the playoffs altogether. What's worse? Like, yeah, you got swept up by Denver or lost in 5, but not even making the playoffs. Like, you want to flirt with that option?
I think we both know that there's no way the league will not allow LeBron James not to be in the playoffs. We've already seen the effects of that. And viewership it wasn't that great. I think he knows that too. I think a lot of teams know that.
Oh yeah,
so,
for sure. I don't think they're gonna. I definitely don't think they'd have anything for Denver. I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. They probably would want that, but I'm like, you're flirting with the option of not actually making the playoffs. I get it though. I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying, but you're depending on AD to make it through a game, even though he's been great this year. Like that's the irony of ironies for him to give him that extra game, and then he goes down with a sprained ankle or a poke in the eye, and then that's it. And then LeBron's home for the summer, and then all we got to hear throughout the playoffs is how come the Lakers aren't in the playoffs. You really want that for yourself? I don't want that.
Jeez, that's too funny. Oh man.
But I'm saying all this to say, to go back to Shea, to circle back to Shea. I'm saying all this to say that, like, the inexperience is why everybody's trying to look at OKC as food, and I don't see that with them because, the team reflects the mirror image of his leader, and Shea is so level-headed even at this young age that I'm like, because he doesn't panic, he almost has like a mini Kawhi in him, which is like it's almost part machine. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't really panic in big moments, and I think because of that, we've seen it now, like through the play-in last year, through the World Championships, with some of these big games. Like this is going to be his first year where he's going to be the man in the playoffs, right? Like actually leading a team and being like the guy. But I think mentally he's built for it. Psychologically, he's built for it. And I think that's going to trickle in for the rest of the team too. Like, OKC is really good, and I think they're really, even though these guys are young, they're hearing all this nonsense too, that like, oh, we can get knocked off in round one because, we're all 20-something years old. But I think Shea is the glue that holds that together. So I think it sounds funny to say he's the X factor, but I think mentally that's the only reason why I'd make him that, and whoever they end up playing in the first round, because of that factor. Like, the inexperience won't mean as much because of the way he handles things mentally.
What OKC was an expansion team?
No, remember, they left your city.
I just wanted to just say it, just so we remember that. Yeah, that's all.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I led you into that one.
Wow.
Yeah, I led you into that one. Just to be a reminder. That's all. Just to be a reminder.
Well, who was knocking Seattle? I didn't agree with that move.
Oh, neither did I. But I just wanted to be known that, one, we should have been in the NBA Finals going against the Miami Heat. Should have been the Seattle Sonics. This OKC Thunder business. Come on, man. Let's be serious. Just know that Seattle has been built a certain way.
Vent out. You still bleeding green and gold. It's okay. You're bitter. I get it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're damn right I am. Absolutely.
You should be, actually. I'm not even knocking. You should be.
Makes no sense. This makes no sense. How the hell we ain't got no team in the city? That's crazy.
Well, that's why you're going to be getting a team back now, like in the next 5 years.
I hope so.
It's going to be Vegas and Seattle. It's like the worst kept secret. It's like the worst kept secret in the NBA. It's gonna be Vegas and Seattle. Vegas is definitely gonna be number one, but Seattle is going to be the second. There's no way Seattle's not gonna get another team. It's impossible. Like you're gonna be able to go back home to watch games. Put it that way.
Yeah, it might be pretty pricey, man. They're probably, those tickets will probably be ridiculous.
Oh, 1,000%. You're definitely gonna have to pawn off your wedding ring to do it for sure. 100%. but you know what I'm saying? But at least you'll be able to go. So that's why I'm saying saying SGA is, like I can definitely see the point, and I was flirting with it, but I went with Joker. I'm not even going to go into all the reasons why I'm going with Joker. You know why. Whoever's listening, you guys know why. You know what I mean? Like, to even go to talk the next 5 minutes about it doesn't make sense. We both know. You know what I mean? But with that said, though, in terms of individual brilliance this season, I'm going to piss you off. I'm sorry. Nobody was playing better than B before he got hurt. I don't care what you say.
The who?
Fight me.
This guy. Did you say Joel?
I said in terms of the individual brilliance this season, nobody was playing better than Embiid. Fight me.
Oh, my goodness, man. You got to be kidding. Listen, I don't know what it is with you and this guy, man. Let me put this disclaimer out. I don't think he's weak. He just ain't that good to me.
Yeah, see this is where me and you go at it. But again, in the playoffs though, I totally agree with you. In the playoffs, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you in the playoffs. I am not going to argue with you with that. Especially after last year when they played Game 6 and Game 7 against Boston, like they were playing Charlotte and Detroit in back-to-back in January. Once I saw that, I was basically like swinging off the bandwagon. But the way he played this year, again, Philly was one of the teams I watched a lot of this year, and he was averaging 35 a game before he went down, and Bash, honestly, it was probably one of the most efficient 35-point games I've seen in a very long time, if ever. Like it was crazy. Like it wasn't like a bunch of threes. You know what I mean? It was all inside. Man, it was impressive to watch, man. Like it was really impressive to watch him do that. Like I was super impressed with how he played this year, and then he gave it to you defensively too. They were third. I think they were like. I know when he was playing, they were like before he got out. I think they were like 30-8, or something like. I think it was something like that. They were like 30-8 or like 32-9 or whatever when he played. I know he missed a lot of time, but yeah, I can't remember the exact stat, but they were definitely like. You see how the gap is so the gap is so wide between Boston and the next best team in the East. Had he been healthy, that definitely would have been. That definitely would have been Philly in the number 2 spot at this point in time.
Wow!
Come on, Pelicans, jeez. I but I got to give a shout out to him only because and I'm not saying this because again I'm an Embiid guy. That was really impressive how he played this year. It was really impressive. He laid waste to everybody that he was playing this year. If you're an all-star, or if you're a joker or whatever, he usually won that matchup. I'm talking about this season, or he played really well. And if you're anything below that, you were getting a 40-piece on your head easy. Easy, like an easy 40.
Ah, man. Oh my goodness.
Well, all right. Let's get to at least the 4 concrete playoff matchups so far before we wrap up. And I know we got a lot of playoff talk, throughout the next couple of months. So the seedings obviously as we're talking, because like I said, we're watching basically the end of this Pelicans game and the Lakers game right now. So the full brackets haven't been set yet, but the 4 that set are, I would say at least 3 of them are hella exciting. Starting, I don't even know. Well, actually, I'll start with the West first. So let's start with Dallas and the Clippers. Who you got in that series?
I said Dallas originally, but I think the Clippers are going to pull it off. You got to pick your poison with Kyrie or Luka. And the Clippers have more efficient defenders, I feel, on their side to at least slow them down to where if you don't have to double team Luka, maybe trap, but when that ball swings to Kyrie, I feel like the next defender waiting for him will be enough to shut it down. I feel that they might have a hard time scoring.
You think Dallas might have a hard time scoring?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the bench is deeper with the Clippers.
I don't disagree with the deepness of the bench. Here's where I'll disagree, though. Historically, in this Luka era, especially when they meet the Clippers in the playoffs, and especially since Kawhi's been a Clipper and Kawhi and Paul George has been a Clipper, man, somebody needs to break this down to me in terms of how 2 of the best perimeter defenders in the league can't do shit about Luka. Ever. You know what I'm saying? And I know the 2 playoff series that they had prior to, they beat them, but both series went 7 games. One in the bubble, one outside the bubble. Both of them went the distance because they had no answer for Luka. And that was before, that's when he just had Jalen Brunson being, Jalen Brunson wasn't this guy, but that's when he didn't have a second all-star with him, right? And now you're giving him Kyrie? Who the hell's going to stop Kyrie on this team? I think the X factor is to probably try to slow down Kyrie. You can't. They're not going to stop Luka. I don't see that happening because they haven't proved it, even when they were healthier, and now those guys are a little older and he's a little better. I don't see that happening, and Dallas actually for the first time since their run. The first year post bubble, so I guess 2022, so 2 years ago when they made it to the Western Conference Finals. This is probably their best squad since then because they actually built the team in terms of, especially with the offseason trades with PJ Washington and all these guys. They're actually a better rounded team that at least around their 2 guys, right? They play defense, they shoot. Dante Exum kind of came. I don't even know where he came from. Where was he playing? Was he even in Europe, or was he playing in Australia or China?
He was overseas somewhere. But before that, he was with Utah.
Yeah, he was Utah. Met a while back, but he came back and earned his keep.
Yeah,
he's been playing well. To me, the difference too, because it took time for Kyrie and Luka to figure it out. And I think I was telling you this a couple of weeks ago. I watched him play. I watched him play Houston, and I think Kyrie had 50 points or 48 points, something like that. He went crazy on Houston, right? And what was interesting, though, is watching it is I think in that third quarter he had about 20-something points. And you're looking at Luka, and Luka's just go. And that's the first time I've ever seen Luka be that deferential. You know what I mean? I think that was the first time I've seen him in his career be that way on that team. Because when you wanted him to be that way with Jalen Brunson and those guys, and Dinwiddie when they were scoring a bunch whenever he got off the court. As soon as he came back, it was like, yo, it's my ball. It's Luka-centric time again. And this was one of the first times where it was like, you saw him like, basically like, don't even come here. You take it. And to me, that's where I was like, okay, like now this team is going to be a little different. And it's funny because I'm sure, you know, they saw what they see with Kyrie and stuff in practice. That left-handed shot over Joker, to watch Luka's expression, like Luka was almost delirious, like after he hit that shot. Like, yo, I mean, Kyrie's different, man. You know this.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, I it's like a pick 'em. It's like a pick 'em with me right now because I'm kind of like, as much as I'm talking about Dallas, I'm a Kawhi guy, man. I'm a Kawhi guy through and through, and he's a machine. If he's healthy. If his knee's right and he's playing game one day, I mean, this is playoff Kawhi. You know what's coming. You know what's coming. You know what I mean? So it's man. I'll say this. I'm gonna man. I'm gonna say Dallas is 7 for now. But but Dallas wins the series outright if Kawhi misses even one game.
I don't think that happens.
You don't think he misses any time?
No.
Okay, well, I hope not. But if they do, trust me, they're not going to win that series. And I would say they would blow up the Clippers, but the Clippers are going into a new arena next year, as I said like a million times. They're going to pay everybody that they got to pay, including Harden. So that team's not blowing up even if they lose in the first round. Like everybody's coming back. I guarantee that. Unless Paul George really leaves, which I don't see him leaving, but yeah, I'm gonna say Dallas in 7, but it's really a pick 'em. I want to say push.
It's not push. Oh,
I want to say push, but I'll go with them in 7.
I'll go Clippers in 7.
You go Clippers in 7? Okay, yeah. I like if the Clippers end up winning the series, I'm not gonna sit there and be shocked. Put it that way. Like it's a pick 'em series. It really is. And I would say this is the most exciting series of the first round, which is it very well may be. But then there's also Phoenix and Minnesota. Are you prepared for an Ant-Man book series?
Yes, but that's not the one I'm actually excited for the series.
Okay.
I'm waiting for Bradley Beal to show up, man, and he's been showing out for the past couple games for the last 2 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm ready for Bradley Beal, man.
Yeah,
but don't get me wrong, that Devin Booker and Edwards matchup is gonna be crazy though.
Yo, the level of shit talking in this series is gonna be sky high. Like, and first them going directly at each other, and I think both those teams aren't crazy about each other either. It's gonna be a hell of a series, man. And I mean, Beal's playing better. I think the X factor is KD's brilliance versus Minnesota's size. I think that's what the X factors to me is going to be. Like if KD's KD and giving you 30 and doing KD shit, man, I don't know. It's going to be tough. I'm going to lean towards Minnesota, and here's the reason why. And this is
what?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because I'm not going to dismiss what you said about Beal. But to me, I hated this trade for them, like cleaning house for everybody to get Beal to get there, because at the end of the day, they traded everything for 3 scorers and they got no point guard. And to me, this is where this trade right now is. I predict it's going to bite them in the ass. And this is where, and throughout most of the season, I mean, they had Booker playing the point, and Booker's not like Booker can do it, but that's not what he does. Like that's not the brilliance of Booker. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not what he does. So to put it on Booker to now be that score, like again, he's going against Ant-Man. He's not going to want to pass this off. Like you want him to gun. Like they need a point guard, man. And to me, I'm like, this is where like the decision making if games are close. To me, this is where it's going to come back and bite him in the ass hard. To me, but I think it's going to be a hell of a series, though.
I think Phoenix is going to do it. Yeah, they'll do it in 7.
Okay.
Matchup wise, I think Minnesota actually going to have a problem. Nurkic actually plays pretty well with the Gobert because he cleans the glass pretty well.
Yeah, and Gobert's not a scorer either.
Jaden McDaniels will have his hands filled with Kevin Durant.
Yep.
And Anthony Edwards. I think basically he's going to be matched up with Bradley Beal. And personally, I don't think Anthony Edwards is ready for that. Conley will probably be matched up with Devin Booker. So you got to pick your poison now. So it's basically I'm sorry, I forgot about Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
Right. So with him, he's actually probably matched up with KD, but that'll be a complete disadvantage for Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, he shouldn't do that.
Right. So Jaden McDaniels is probably the best. So now you're left. There's a mismatch somewhere, and I feel like Bradley Beal is going to be that guy to get that mismatch.
Yeah, it's going to be that hell of a series. Well, you know what? As you're saying that, the real X factor is Karl Anthony Towns because of his decision making. For a guy that's so talented, he drives me insane in the playoffs, man. I think he becomes like one of the. It's almost like somebody like letting air out of a tire when it comes to intelligence. The way he plays in the playoffs, like he makes some of the dumbest decisions, man. Whether it's fouling, the things that he does in the playoffs, he'll have a big game. Like, don't be surprised. That's probably gonna happen in this series. He'll have a series, a game in the series where he's gonna drop 40 points, and then the game after that he's gonna have 5 fouls, and it's gonna be some of the stupidest fouls you'll ever see.
Yeah.
That's been his history. Like, that's the X factor. If he can be smarter, then I'll give it to Minnesota. But like, anyhow they pick apart his IQ, his ball IQ in this series, man, I think Minnesota might have an issue. But again, this is gonna be a hell of it. I don't plan on missing a game in this series either.
Right.
I guess next up we got we'll save the Bucks for last. Let's go Orlando and Cleveland.
Cleveland in 5.
Cleveland in 5? Okay. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Who do you think has a brighter future in the near future?
For
either team.
Orlando for sure.
You think it's Orlando for sure?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it all depends on what they do with Donovan Mitchell if he becomes because I think he becomes a free agent after next year. If they end up losing this series, for example, yeah, I can see him asking for a trade this summer.
What's that going to do? Where's he going to go?
I don't know. But you keep hearing these rumors about how he wants to. He's not signing the extension. I think he's eligible for it this summer. Like, they keep hearing rumors that he wants to go to. Well, I don't think he's not going to go to New York now. I think that was always the rumor before that, like, he's going to go. He wants to go play for the Knicks, but now the Knicks don't need him, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting, but you know what? I think defense travels. Orlando's one of the better defensive teams in the league. Their youth and experience is what may get them, but I think this series might be closer than you think, just because defense travels. But I'm gonna go with Cleveland because Donovan Mitchell is a baller in the playoffs. He actually plays better in the playoffs than he does in regular season. I don't expect that to change, but that's gonna be a good series though too.
I think that one it'll be quick and painless.
You think so?
Yeah.
All this bravado for Seattle, you don't got love for Banchero?
No, I do. But the only thing is, for some weird reason, they steered away from Franz Wagner. That doesn't make sense to me.
Go ahead.
They used to play through him a lot more in the beginning of the season, and all of a sudden it just tapered off. And I think it actually happened after he got injured.
Yeah, so I was about to say. I think that's what happened.
Yeah. So I'm not too sure what vision they have and how they want to go about the game, like what their game plan is. But I don't know. It just seems weird because Franz Wagner, he can play too.
Man, he's tough. He's tough.
Right, so
his brother's tough. His brother can play. I mean, he's more of a role player, but his brother can play.
Yeah.
They got some players, man. Suggs is a baller. You know, like Cole Anthony's. Like I thought they should have traded Cole Anthony at the beginning of the season. I was wrong about that. He's been playing well. I see you ain't mentioning Markelle Fultz. I know he ain't from Seattle, but he did play for Seattle University at least. You know, but I know you ain't showing him love, but like he's
you do. You can't say Seattle University. That's a little bit different.
I know. It's close to Seattle. Seattle adjacent. It's close enough. But but you know what I mean. But I'm just saying, like they got some guys on this team, man. And but like the inexperience is probably what's going to get him. And like I said, Mitchell is a better player. Like in the playoffs, Garland, like these guys, they kind of shit the bed last year in the playoffs because they lost to the Knicks in 5. So I think they got a little bit of a chip on the shoulder this time. So I'm going to say Cleveland in 6. I'm going to give her the Magic 2 games.
Well, you're going to give them 2 games? That means that's 2 home games because they're not going down on the road.
Yeah, maybe not, but I'll give them 2 games. I'm gonna give them 2 games. Last but not least, before we wrap up, man, Bucks and Indy. Here's my question. This may sound like a dumb question. Do you have any faith that the Bucks will win this series without Giannis? And before you answer, I have a second question. Do you have faith in them winning this series even with Giannis?
Thank you. Negative to both. Negative to both. Absolutely not. And it's not even because of the whole Doc Rivers thing.
Yes, it is.
Honestly, it really doesn't. Milwaukee, matchup-wise, can't handle Indiana. They couldn't even do it during the regular season.
I know. They played them 5 times, too, and lost to them, 4 out of 5?
Right. Something about Indiana, they play well against Milwaukee. And watching how everything was kind of transpiring for seeding, the first thing I said to myself was, anyhow Milwaukee doesn't realize that Indiana's in their sights for the first round, something's wrong.
I know. And to me, they got better once they got Siakam.
Listen, I like Siakam. But I feel like him going to Indiana kind of hurt Halliburton. But hence why he's on my 3rd team. If Halliburton didn't get Siakam, I feel like Halliburton would have ended off being maybe second team.
Yeah, I can see that. He played really well. And I think part of it, too, is Siakam likes to play with the ball a little bit, right? So
it's very rare that you can throw a dime to Siakam and he's going to shoot it from the pass. He's a rhythm shooter. He's going to have to put that ball down. So Halliburton, I mean, you would, like, in the beginning you hear about the trade and you're like, oh man, Halliburton, he's probably going to get 15 assists minimum. But
yeah, it went the other way.
Right. For those that know about Siakam, you probably just kind of have that, it might work. But then at the same time, you're like, no, this looks about right. Yeah, he's just gonna mess up the whole flow. Well, I don't say the whole flow of the game, but he's gonna mess up the whole way everything's executed now. Because I don't know if you noticed, T.J. McConnell, he ended up averaging more assists from the second unit because he doesn't have to necessarily play with Siakam.
Yeah.
Right? Their style of play, their pace of the game, it works in their favor. So now, I don't know, maybe something will get figured out.
I think it's too soon to like to really truly grade that trade right now because it's 20 something games in, I guess, right? And then Halliburton missed some time too. So
right.
So it's hard to say, but like the fact that they're in this spot, man, Milwaukee, would you say they're a disappointment this year? I guess you'd have to say so, right? And I think and to me, I'm like, and again, Giannis is one of my guys, man. I love Giannis, man. But I mean, the way he handled the offseason, I just wasn't. I don't know, man. I wasn't crazy about it because they had a chance to get Nick Nurse. He didn't want Nick Nurse. He wanted Adrian Griffin. He co-signed Adrian Griffin. Adrian Griffin gets there. By December, basically, he lost the team. Right?
Right.
And I think some of it too was like yeah, I guess when they say you lost a team, you really lost the top guy. You really lost Giannis, right? And they were 30-13. What was their record after they got what's his face after they got
Doc Rivers?
Doc Rivers. What was their record after that? They were 30-13. I'm gonna check right now. Let me do the quick math here. They were 30-13 when they fired Griffin. Then they went 19-16 the rest of the way with Doc.
Yeah, it got slapped. It got slapped on the last game of the season.
Bad, terrible. And the thing is too, right? Like, and I get it because with Doc Rivers, it's like as much as you want to rip him, it's like okay, he came in halfway through the year. He hasn't gone through a training camp with them. He doesn't even have his coaching staff that he wants. You know what I mean? And then he doesn't have the players that he wants to play in his system either. So you're gonna have to give him like a summer, at least a year, to work all that out, right? Some of these players that are there on this team right now aren't gonna be there next year. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna be there. Maybe Beverly, maybe we'll see, but they're probably not gonna be there. And I mean, Giannis is the guy, and Lillard is the guy too. But like, I find like it's like they haven't figured it out yet. They haven't figured it out yet, and I feel like, I'm not saying Lillard has to play like how we did in Portland. As much as Giannis says, "Oh, it's Lillard's team," it's like lip service. It's lip service. I don't find like the way they play. It's like it still goes through Giannis a little too much. As great as he is, you want him to be off the ball a little more, especially with somebody like Lillard there. You know what I mean? Like Lillard's here for the moments right now to end off games, to run the offense, and it's like I feel like he doesn't do that enough. Like there's games where you're watching him inbound the ball to Giannis to bring up the floor and run the offense. Like that shouldn't be the case going to now. You know what I mean? And then now you may not have him for they're saying the beginning of the series, but like anyhow, Giannis misses more than like a game in this series, the series is over.
Well, he's already gonna miss game one.
He's already gonna miss game one. I secretly think he's not going to play the series.
I don't know about that.
We'll see, but I see him missing at least. I'll be surprised. Like this is my prediction. I think he'll probably be there maybe game 4, game 3, game 4. I mean, he pulled his calf. You can't really rush back from that.
Tell you what, I think the Milwaukee Bucks have a better chance of beating Indiana if he doesn't play.
You think so?
Absolutely.
State your case real quick. Why do you feel that?
Wise, Giannis can't shoot, man. Miles Turner's gonna sit there and wait for him to do his little body bump move so he can slap that joint into the stands. Listen, until Giannis starts shooting those jumpers, that's when he's gonna create those mismatches. And certain people, i.e., Miles Turner, Isaiah Jackson, I'll even give him that, or Jalen Smith. They're sitting there waiting for him. They know exactly what he's going to do. If he's not shooting no threes, then that means you're going through 2 people. And you got that's between Damian Lillard and Chris Middleton. And Chris Middleton is still trying to get his rhythm back.
I know, man. Is he? I'm wondering if he is ever going to get his rhythm back.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so too.
He was a good player, man. I still think he's a good player, but he's not who he was before he got injured.
Yeah, he hasn't been the same, man. Since that championship run.
Yeah.
Since that championship run. Since he got hurt in 2022, he has not been the same guy. And for them to go far, they need him to be that guy. Like they need him to be back to that guy, like being that third person. You know what I mean? Like being that third role. But then they need him to be back to like at least 90%. Like if they have any shot of coming out the East, like he's got to be like 90% back to where he was.
Well, I mean, that definitely is not happening.
No, I don't think it's happening either.
I think the team that's actually come out of the East is actually the New York Knicks.
Oh, you think they're coming out the East, huh?
Listen, defensively, they're a problem.
Now, would you do you think if Randall was there, you think that would hurt their case, or do you think
100%? I think they're better without him.
Yeah, I would still say Boston because of the experience, and it's still early. I want to see how everything shakes out. Mm-hmm. But like the first round, even with the play-in and all that stuff, like the first round of the playoffs is going to be, I think on both conferences it's going to be dope. I mean, mind you, except for the Boston series, it's probably going to be the weakest one because, let's face it, it's either. Well, actually, no, I can't even say that because. I mean, really and truly, who cares about Atlanta and Chicago? We both know neither of them is getting the 8th spot. It's either going to be Philly or Miami. Whoever wins that game, like I know we're talking, tonight. So whoever wins that Philly Miami matchup is going to win the 8th game spot, right? So either Boston's playing Miami in the first round or they're playing Philly in the first round. So even for Boston, that's a hell of a matchup. For your first, that first round opponent is supposed to be Atlanta, Chicago. It's not supposed to be Miami, and it's not supposed to be Philly.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, damn, nice dunk by Fox. But yeah, that's That's not what you want to see the first round of the series. So Boston is going to have it tough from pretty much the opening jump too. That's why I'm like, I can't wait for the playoffs to get here now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this, it's gonna be tough. Like what's I don't know. Like okay, so so we're predicting either New York's either gonna face Miami or they're gonna face Philly in that first round too. So
they're not playing Miami.
You think they're gonna be playing Philly?
And Philly. And Philly's gonna lose.
That is a hell of a series though too.
Yeah, I know. Your boy Embiid gonna catch another L, man. So
I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't think he's back to where he was before he got hurt, mind you, but he's looking good though. And he shrunk down actually. I think he looked like he lost a little bit of weight, I guess, to take the pressure off his knee. He lost, yeah, he looks slimmer, like coming back.
Well, my guy Zay, nah, he gonna work him, man. You don't even call him. I don't even call him Hartenstein. I call him Zay. Got that swag.
Because I was wondering, I'm like, who the hell is Zay? That's hilarious. I to be honest, I actually want Philly to win some more so they can play the Knicks. That would be, oh my God, that would be an incredible. Man, that series is going to be awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
That's going to be an awesome series, man. Oh, there's going to be a lot of late nights this next month.
Work's going to suck for the next 2 months for me.
Oh, my God. It's going to be tough, especially these West Coast games, man. I'm already like, man, I'm going to be tired a lot of days, man. A lot of maca, a lot of maca powder and ginseng. I'm telling you that right now. Get me through these days, man, and some coffee. I already see it, man. But yeah, like either way, either one of that 7-8 matchup with Philly Miami, either way you slice it, it's going to be a great first round, however it ends up. Because like I said, unless one of them gets a major injury, they're beating Atlanta and Chicago. We both know that. So like it's to the point where I don't even know why they're even playing that game tomorrow.
Wow.
But that to me is going to be a wild series, and like you know, like again, we did this podcast throughout the Lakers and Pelicans game. Lakers won, so they're playing Denver. We already discussed how that's going to go. But that final matchup, like who do you think OKC is going to play? Do you think it's going to be the Pelicans, or do you think it's going to be Golden State or Sacramento? Which out of the three you think is going to meet up with them?
Either team gonna lose or OKC anyway, so it don't really matter.
No,
but
I agree. I think Golden State would probably give some sort of a better resistance, to be honest, because of the experience, right?
Right. I will say right now,
and you don't want Steph to be in a with his back against the wall. Like you don't really want that, but
right. I think the fact that Sacramento lost to Golden State last year, I think Sacramento actually might pull off tonight and beat Golden State. And then it's going to end up being a battle of Golden State against New Orleans, and I think New Orleans will end up beating them. So, really, at the end of the day, I think it's gonna. I think it actually might end up being New Orleans. No, sorry, New Orleans is gone. No, New Orleans is still there.
Yeah, they're going to play that 8th game.
Yeah, so I think New Orleans is going to end up being that team that plays against OKC,
I actually think so too.
Yeah,
I think so too. Which again, that's going to be a great series too.
Yeah, but the amount of money the league just made, oh gosh, they struck gold.
They struck gold. Oh, they sure did. They sure did, because as shaky as, to me, I don't think the regular season was that great, to be honest with you. The momentum of the playoffs going into the TV contract is going to help a lot, because I think the TV contract is not going to be as much as what people think. But I think the playoffs are gonna make up for it, especially now that you got the Lakers in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, great. Oh gosh, I got to deal with this crap now. All these Laker fans.
Yep.
My goodness.
Yeah, but I mean, from what we can see, that we don't have to experience them for long.
Yeah, I hope that ends quick, man. I need another four game sweep again.
Yeah, I think that'll be awesome. Just. You know, and the thing is that the Lakers, I think, to me, they're actually pretty good. Like, I'm not ripping on them. I just didn't, I think injuries or whatever just, kind of derailed their season a little bit. But yeah, it's not a good matchup for them, man. You got AD's got to play Joker again for 4 games, man.
Hold on. Say that one more time. You said AD's got to play Joker. He didn't play him the last time.
I know. That's what I'm trying to say. He's got to play against him. That's not going to happen. That's not gonna happen. I keep telling people, I'm like, I remember last year, we'll wrap up after, just at any moment now, but last year when they met up in the conference finals, and people are like, oh, the Lakers gonna take it, and I'm like, yo, y'all thinking that AD is gonna tire the Joker? I'm like, it's gonna be the other way around, and that's what you saw, right? And I mean, why change the recipe? And
you're right.
Why change the recipe? You know what I'm saying?
The recipe that had last year didn't work. Rui Hachimura, he looked like sushi out there. So I mean, good luck to him again.
Good luck.
I'm gonna start calling him sashimi soon.
But again, now but on top of that now too, you're playing against a team who's entering their prime. Their core is entering their prime or about to enter their prime. As champions, they now know how to win.
You think Porter might be distracted? Oh man, yeah. We're gonna have to watch those books, man. Because if Denver loses, we definitely gotta check those tickets.
Oh man, I don't think he's gonna be distracted, but we're gonna wrap up right now. Thank you, Anthony, for Oh man, thank you for coming on the Ave as always, man. But that's and definitely feel free, man, because playoffs is here. You know what I mean? I want to do some live streams and certain series, and so definitely feel free to come back. But yeah, man, I think what's the brother's name? Jonte?
Oh yeah, Jonte Porter. Man, the crazy thing is they said he was going to be the better brother out of the two of them.
Oh, that's crazy.
Man, something went wrong. What? I don't know
but the thing is, again, I mean, this is all alleged, right? Like allegedly, if he did this, right?
Come on, man.
Why would he do that? You know what I'm saying? My thing is, how much money could you have made by doing that? When if you just solidify at least a decent, even if you're smart to be a decent role player in the NBA, you're going to be making way more than what a cut you're going to get from these fucking Bet 365 or drafting.
Yeah, but but you see the difference is, we're not big time like that. So we use Bet 365. They use different kinds of accounts where they can put these big hands.
Yeah, right.
Right. So he probably got one taste. He probably got one taste of a win, and that's probably all it took. Mind you, you know what? This is all alleged.
Allegedly, right.
But it ain't looking good. So
it ain't looking good at all.
Yeah.
It ain't looking good at all. And I don't know if you saw. Oh no, you did see that thing. I think I sent it today where they're talking about how he had like an account for like the last 2 years.
Yeah.
With millions of dollars, and where did that $1 million come from? It didn't come from his college pockets.
And this is where it starts.
Yeah, let's wrap up the show. Thank you for checking out the latest edition of the Ave Podcast. And special shout out to Anthony Batchelor for joining me on this one. And I know we wrapped up the pod laughing about the Jonte Porter situation, but like I mentioned earlier, man, this was podcast was recorded before the lifetime ban was announced. And with that said, this guy could have made himself a few $1 million just from training and betting on himself, sticking to maybe a few rosters long enough. Now, forget the fact that his brother is Michael Porter Jr., who's probably going to make hundreds of millions of dollars himself. All he had to do was make a roster or two and possibly even make it to 5 years in the league, and he could have got himself a lifetime pension from the league. And even if he doesn't make the league for that long, how many leagues overseas could he have made it and played in it just to make some money? And if the reports are true, all he got out of it was basically $21,000 worth of bets. You cost yourself an opportunity to make 7 figures playing a sport for $21,000. I'm not even sure if I risk it all for $21,000 right now, and I'm a thousandaire. His career is pretty much over, and because most of the major leagues overseas won't pick him up after this either, unless the Saudis create a new league, like golf, he'll barely be able to get a job as a high school AAU coach after this. To jump out the window and phase yourself out of the industry, did he really think he would never get caught for this day and age? He was even betting on his own games. I mean, this was an extremely ballsy move, man. The crazy thing is, I think this is like a tip of the iceberg, only the beginning with sports gambling just being integrated with major sports like this. And you're already seeing the effects of it already, being that it's infiltrated around the peripherals of the sports, like Shohei Ohtani's translator. And, because of the history and all the information around us, fans are going to become more and more skeptical of thinking players or even teams aren't going to screw with the integrity of games, especially big games. And like I said, this may only be the beginning. But with that said, we'll be back with a new episode, next week. I'm excited for the playoffs. I can't wait to get into these series over the next couple of weeks. There's going to be a lot of series going at least 6 games, which is kind of unheard of in the first round. And I'm here for all of it. I can't wait to watch it and discuss it. All right, so I can't wait for you guys to head over to southshorave.com either for the catalog, sign up for the website, and especially or like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, Apple Podcasts and Spotify, TuneIn, Alexa, Google Podcasts. Click on that and click on the 5 stars, please and thank you. All right, and we'll be back next week with a new episode. For Anthony Batchelor, this is Cal C, and you just tuned in to the Ave Podcast right here on South Shore Ave Radio. All right, thank you once again for the support. Much love and appreciation to all of you, to y'all. All right, until next time.